Welcome to another Eagle 6 video. We're just going to do a takedown of the Toyko Marui scar. It's been requested quite a lot on the website, so we're just going to do a quick disassembly of this and show you how to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with showing you the difference between this one and obviously the M4, which everyone's quite used to at the moment. We're going to show you how easy it is to take the barrel off separate from the rest of the gun and the gearbox. So that way, if you just want to do a barrel change, you can do that nice and quick. So we start off with, hopefully you can see properly on there, these side screws here, which are just Torque screws. I'm afraid you're going to have to get comfortable, it's going to be a while. Right, so same as the M4 when we did that a while ago now actually. We just make nice little piles individually of everything you're taking off, that way everything's associated with the parts you're taking apart. So I'm going to just flip the gun over, we'll do the same this side. Light-wise, looks the right light. What do you think? Can we get it in one take?
Should be.
There wouldn't be an Eagle 6 video without some bloopers, you know, so I'll try and get them in there. Drop in some bolts or something. Right, so then what we do is, after we've taken these two side ones off, we go for these screws at the front here. Same again, Torque.
Just take the barrel out first, yeah?
Yeah. So there's going to be a large amount of people that just want to do a barrel change and a hot rubber change, so do this one first and then we'll go and do the other bit. So those three screws there, I'll point them out again in a second. So this one here, yeah, sorry. So you got this one here at the side, this one here at the bottom, and then this one here at the side again. Then this one here at the back. Got Paul, my guardian angel, over my shoulder here, making sure I don't get the wrong one. Don't forget nothing. Right, so take the bottom riz rail off there. Then this bit here, we want to just slide forward ever so slightly, okay? And we now see the hop unit is actually starting to come out of here. It won't actually completely lift out until this piece here is also wiggled out, and it won't wiggle out. And it is tight, by the way, but it won't wiggle out until you slide all this forward. So come on, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There are from Laylax, they do a short barrel, long barrel conversion kit, so you can see why that's practical now because of how easy this thing is to take out. So now if you're doing a hot rubber and a barrel change, say for instance, then this part here is now just standard disassembly. So yeah, so these screws on here, and then the whole hop unit just splits in two halves. So obviously you know, just make sure everything goes back into place when you're doing this, but basically just hop unit off, and then this thing here will slide out just like they did on the soft mod. You can see how the hop unit here is basically identical to the soft mod one. I think it is slightly different because it doesn't have the wings on the side, I think, for that. Is that right, Paul? Yeah, so there's no wings on the side for things. So technically it is a different hop unit, although it's the same. Oh yeah, soft mod. Look at that.
Right. Damage.
You glued that. Right, yeah. So yeah, just ever so slightly different, but I can't remember the. Yeah, it does take the.
Doesn't.
It doesn't, or does? It doesn't take the Firefly one. No, it doesn't take the Firefly one. So
it'll take the rubber.
It'll take
the rubber, but the nub.
The nub.
I've got to work on. I think I can get one in there.
Right. So they may take the nub. That's what we're coming up with as a conclusion. They may take the nub. What it is like a two-piece one on the Scar, so it has like a. I think it does. I think I've put one in there before. The last one I did.
No, it's difficult.
Alright. Alright. Well, I'll put this back together and then we'll do as if we're taking the gearbox apart. So this part here, you want to make sure is at this back position. So I think you can see it on here. So it's basically in its furthest back state. And then what we do is slide it in. Now you want to watch the nozzle as you're sliding it on, because you don't want to obviously cause any damage to that. Right. Now the only real way to know if this has gone back into the right spot is obviously by testing the gun. So but if you're just doing a barrel change, you can easily just quickly have a crack at firing this thing now. See how that's not working? So we haven't got that in the right place. See how it travels all the way to the back now? So now we've got it in the right place. So just keep rinsing and repeating until you get it going right. So we're just going to reassemble now. So in order to get this piece back on this metal bit, we have to ever so slightly edge this forward. Still going. Screw at the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So you see there's like a screw on the side here, so make sure the hole is pointing towards the back. So it's snug, isn't it? Get in there. Right. So that's back on there. Now you can slide the whole thing back in its proper position. Okay, you'll see all the screws line up when you're pushing it towards it. Let's go with, should be the side ones. That'll hold it in place, won't it?
If you're going to take the rest of the front end off, leave them off.
Yeah, well, what I'll do, I'll put it back to the previous state it was, and then we'll go from there as if, you know, somebody's doing one or the other, you know, whether they're just changing a hot rubber or whether they're changing a spring inside. It's a CQB version, by the way, but it doesn't make a difference whether it's a heavy, light, you know, CQB or full length. It doesn't really matter. Next one. So I'm just putting these bits there on the side. They're going to come off again in a minute, so but I'll put it back to the state that it was on. It's like 2 videos in one. I could have done 2 separate ones. That would have been a bit better, wouldn't it? How to change a hot roller. Oh well, missed opportunity. worried about the length for this video. We can upload all kinds, but you know, anything longer than 15 minutes it says, but it's file size, that's the problem. Also setting on that thing, there's two settings, like if it's too high it can be too big a file size. Hopefully it's on the right one. Right, next one. Okay, so we're just putting all the screws back in that we just taken off. For the record, I have 3 hands. That's where that came from. My third hand. I keep going back to that, don't I?
It's just right there.
Right, front end back on. I'm working. Okay, so that in theory, apart from obviously we didn't show the actual hot rubber change itself, but that's basically it if you want to do a hot rubber and barrel and the actual disassembling of the gun. So, oh my god, how unprofessional of me. Right, so now what we're going to do is imagine that being one separate part and then this being a separate part, because you don't need to disassemble the barrel bit to get at the actual spring, okay, so which is why we're doing it in 2 bits, which is why me and Paul are arguing. I believe the Scar to be better than the soft mud M4. Oh no, it's sacrilege, sacrilege. But I think it's a little bit easier. Paul thinks it's a little bit harder.
All the time.
So yeah, so what we'll do, we'll put it in safe, and then I'm just going to pop the battery out of here. They have a little pin on these things for popping off the bit of the back here. And that'll let you take the back cover off. Still on camera. And then we just we've converted over to Dean's and a LiPo already.
I've been ringing you.
What?
So there we go, so a little 1600 there, so it runs it brilliantly, great rate of fire, we're happy with that. Some people have managed to squeeze, it really depends on the LiPo you're buying, but I think some people have got enough 2200 in there, but it just depends on the brand, so we get quite good performance from that little Turnigy. What else? Righty. So what we're going to want to do is separate this whole top section from the bottom section so we can work on that. Okay, so we'll go back to undoing these again. And remember, we're making our little piles on the side there again so we don't lose things, because there's going to be quite a few piles. Yes, it's more screws I think, but obviously it doesn't have that rear stop tube thread, so in my mind that's I think it's a little bit easier because it doesn't have the rear stop tube thread, but I suppose we've done so many M4s, it's just second nature in that now.
You don't have to take them out if you're just going to take the front off.
For these ones, no?
No.
Oh, is it just for the barrel bit, is it?
Yeah, it's just for the barrel bit.
We are just going to try all 20. Hang on. There's no point doing something we don't need to do. Just put these back on. I'm not sure about the microphone actually. I'm hoping it's picking everything up. Should be alright. Right. These 2 back ones. There's 3 there, but you just want the 2 to the rear. two on the back on this stock. One in the middle goes through into the spring guide. Same pile as the other ones.
Same size.
Is it?
Yeah. No.
What was this? Right. So I keep everything there at the back in one little pile.
Top.
We've done top one, haven't we? Great. Right. Top one as well. You can see that one there. Same pile. And pin. So pin there. Just do a little. Bit of gentle hammering. It's going to come out, same part. So the top should. Not miss one, have I?
You'll take that one out.
Or just the one?
Yeah.
I see, I wasn't there.
You may have to take all that out.
It's good that we're so short. Let's try that one. Yeah, okay, so just the one out of the back of these front ones. And that goes into the, it's like a surround I'll show in a second. So put him out of the way, so just move it completely out of the way. So that's that whole top section off now. What will come out is a small metal bar, which is, let me zoom in. So this metal bar here is slotted out of the back of this stock piece. There's a small hole there. So just make sure when you're sliding it back on that goes into that hole. Pretty straightforward. So now if we flip it over, what we've got here on the side is the wiring, which is a common cause of these things not working. Okay, so if you get like an out-of-box failure where you plug a battery in and just not working, it might be that, or over time, that with obviously the pivoting of the stock, potentially it moves these, and then they just disconnect. They're only little spade connectors, and they can cause problems where we get these guns sent in and the gun's just not working, and it's something as simple as that, you know. So I think we've just done ourselves out of about 5 scars. So oh well. Right, so that's now the stock completely off, out of the way. And now we're left with like the centre section, and this is really simple to take this apart. Literally just standard pistol stock procedure, taking these pistol grips, sorry, and taking these off. So Phillips. Start with the back one, putting your thumb on there to hold the pressure.
Front.
This back one's the shortest, the front one's the smallest.
Front's a short one.
Oh yeah, sorry, front one off first, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a good idea to take
Yeah,
the
yeah,
short
yeah,
one
yeah,
out
yeah.
first, because if it does start to pop under the tension of the spring, that's the one that's got the short threads in, so you've always
Yeah.
got a potential strip of thread.
I'm sure there's a few people out there that had lost the threads on their front shorter hull, so yeah, just hold the tension, and that way you prolong the life of your TM grip, which is limited life anyway on those threads. Right, and then just remove the cap, get hold of the spacer, and then just take the wiring off. This is also another common point of failure, especially mid-game. You know, the vibrations obviously making these things come off, and or sometimes break underneath the actual heat shrink itself. Just don't see it there. Problem is it looks dark on that screen up there, but I don't think it is. I think it's quite well lit. be alright. We'll see when we play it back later. Shall get in the light there. There's a bit more light in it. Right, so we take this out, put this aside, and then 2 screws down, so a nice long screwdriver, something that's going to get grip. You don't want to round these off in there, so get some pressure on, single turn, and then just nice and loose. Pressure, and just turn. Once it's cracked off, you see that's it. You know, you've done the hard bit. Just don't round these off. I used to have guns sent to me with it rounded off. That's a pain in the butt. Right, wires out. We do, if you keep it upside down like this, your screws are in the same place, and then just lie it down there, and then just put it back on again. So that way your screws, you never lose them and have to fiddle around with them. So it's just, because we do these so much, we're just telling you some of these extra procedures that we do, just to make things, speed things up a bit and make it a bit easier. So there's no pin on this one like there is on the TM M4. What we have though is, should just come out now, I think. So make sure it's in safe. That'll be apparent later when we're reassembling. Just slide him out. So just put this to the side, and you also get your little cut off there, like on the M4. So we could stop here, but I think what we're going to do is just pop in here just to show you the insides, just in case you guys have any questions on the disassembling of this. This is the version 1 recoil system, just like the AK. In fact, identical to the AK. So there's only slight differences between the AK piston and the SCAR piston. In fact, they probably both actually work in both guns, even though they are slightly different. Right. So we'll take off this top bit, which is, see this guard over here? There's 3 screws. Then we lift the top section off. Put that aside. Notice how we're keeping all the screws in there so we know where they go. We've taken out a screw here which holds in this pin that goes all the way through here, and now that that's out, we can take something thin, poke it through here, sliding this bar out, and now what we can do is take this bit at the back here and then just lift it up. And don't lose the spring. See how I'm catching it? Right, so catch these springs, don't let them ping out. There's 1 and 2, little one inside a big one, okay? So then put these to one side. It's good when you're putting these to one side to reassemble it in the way you take it off, okay? There's a little spring over here which is going to come off anyway. Well, I'm going to stay together for this one. So see how we're just moving all this to one side now, and we're leaving it in one piece. Notice here as well how this this pad on the recoil system, the black pad, like a Sorbothane type thing, is pointing towards away from the recoil. Okay. So if you do accidentally disassemble these the wrong way, you know how to reassemble it because that's facing that way. All right. So that one there, spring there, and recoil assembly's off. So then that leaves us with basically standard version 2 takedown for an M4. So are we going to release the tension on that? Let me go away. Cool. Alright, it's just just something we do, but if you guys are doing it, take this anti-reverse latch and just through the hole there and just pop the anti-reverse latch, taking the pressure off it. What we do is
Clocks.
that way.
I'm pulling it back now.
It's right, innit? We'll just let it pin, can't we?
You can see the piston coming back.
Yeah, it's cool. We're just winding it with a little insides of a motor. And the tension goes, so because we've just wound it round to the next cycle. And now when we take it apart, because the tension's off there, it's not going to go twang.
Take a little spring out for the.
Yeah, this thing. So, a flathead, just gently prise off this little black cover and then put it to one side. Then, obviously we're taking off the cut-off lever here, exactly the same as the soft mod one. Be careful not to lose it. I keep getting emails, people losing this spring. It's a pain in the butt if you lose it, because you just cannot get any of this cut-off section as single piece parts from TM. They only do it as a complete gearbox, which means basically 100 quid on a gearbox just to replace that one part. So yeah, so don't lose it. Be careful here, just literally you hold it with your thumb and you get your nail under it and you pick it off. And then that is it. Just a little bit of extra time there just to not lose that. And then people messaging me saying that they've lost these things. How can you lose these things? How? I don't understand that. So I'm assuming that possibly they've got clone ones and they would like the bits for that. In which case you have to order a whole one of these. So and it's like 100 quid I think. So right.
Take that spring out.
Which one? Oh, sorry, this one. Yeah, okay. See the tapper plate spring? We can just pop this out. Make sure you brace it with your finger though, so otherwise that's going to go choo. And that's all the tension taken off the gun now, so there's no springs left inside, well, apart from that one. So what we're going to do is we need Phillips here, same as soft mod. It's the third hand again. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out total there. So they're all out now. So same as before, same as any other gearbox in the back. Obviously, it's not like the soft mod where you've got the back off. You can just take the spring out. So we're going to brace the spring just in case it decides to go flying. What I like to do is take something here and just poke inside the either the bushings or the bearings, depending on what you've got. And the anti-reverse latch as well, so that way they're pushed down to the lowest position and they're not going to come out with the top of this as you take it off. And then be gentle, because what you want to try and maintain is the shimming, okay? Because that way you don't mess up your gun and you can just basically change your spring, put it all back together, job done. So if you want now, you can now lift up this and take your tension off your spring. So. As you can see, we've already changed this out, because otherwise now you'd have to be doing your standard conversion from a TM spring to an aftermarket spring. We're just going down from an M100 to M90. The scars come in a little bit hot because they're a little bit closer in, a little bit less area, so a bit more pressure on the spring. So they usually run at about 10 FPS standard, higher than any other. So when you obviously put in an M100, potentially it's going to come in a little bit hot. So we're switching down to an M90 here just to get it going a bit better. Parts wise, this is a 3/4 cylinder here on the CQB, so you know, if you're going to a longer barrel you might want to go to a full cylinder. The actual piston itself is very similar to the AK1, except the AK1 has a slightly wider area here for the bit that catches this which I'm not sure why that would be different, because I'm pretty sure they have identical systems. So I personally think that a SCAR one can go in an AK and an AK one can go in a SCAR one. So, you know, and the problem is that the AK one, in say for instance the Prometheus piston, is very hard to source, whereas a SCAR one in a Prometheus piston is much easier to source. Yeah, so AK users might be forced, if they want to go Prometheus, to fit a SCAR one, and obviously the sophomore one will not work. Yeah. Piston head wise, they all have different backings. So this one's going to be the version 1, yeah, I call it, or SCAR piston head, same as the AK. Whereas the TM sophomore, we use a different one because it's got the extra backing to support the impact of the recoil unit, whereas this one doesn't need that. So that's the differences there. So we've got different pistons. This is from, say for instance, the TMM4. We've got TMM4 that's the exact same nozzle, exact same cylinder head, and the exact same tappet plate. Exact same cylinder, depending on your gun, which one you want to go for, and obviously the exact same spring, but the piston is different, the piston head is different, and the spring guide is different, which is the version 9. Okay, the version 9 ones have a thread in the back. Okay, so to take from the stock. If you put a version 3 one in there, it doesn't have the thread, and therefore you can't screw in that last screw. It still works, but you know, you might as well get it right if you're going to buy an aftermarket one. And then obviously the gears, the standard TMM4 gears, which are the same across the entire range, whether it's AK or G36 or whatever, all use the same gears. Well, switch block is the same as the M4 one, and that pretty much covers all the inside bits. So cut-off lever is the same as the M4 one as well. So that's about all of it. So if we put this back together then, and we'll show you how I think quick it is to put back together. So make sure when you're putting this back on that you reseat all the shims from your original TM shimming, unless you're confident with re-shimming yourself. Thus being able to take a gearbox apart, change the spring without too much intimate knowledge about these things. Oh dear. Obviously you get the shimming wrong, you're going to get all kinds of things like blown fuses and gearbox not turning over, low battery life, badness. So they've got little positions here for seating these spring guides, so we're just going to, now that we've transferred everything off there, notice how we've already converted these to Prometheus bearings, which by the way we've never had a single failure on Prometheus bearings at 6mm, which is what, about 100 installs of these bearings in various guns, and just never ever breaking. However, Kansan bearings, I'd say about 50% of Kansan bearings are faded, which is a ridiculous amount. For even the China ones are like just nothing, you know, maybe 1 in 15 of the China's fading, so which is fine really, you know, considering the cost of China bearings. But the Kansan ones, oh, that's ridiculous. That is just pain in our backsides.
What about the Eagle 6 bearings that are now being done and are being tested at the moment?
Eagle 6 bearings, you say? Oh. Yeah, we have got our own bearings in production, mainly because of how ridiculously crap the Kansan ones were. It kind of forced our hand really to be able to produce something that not cheaper than the previous bearings, but as good / maybe even better if we can go for that. You know, just so that we know the specs and we know where we stand. We know that they're 100% better than anything else on the market, and you know, there's no point doing it unless we could do that. We were able to source that, and so we've gone through testing now. You know, it's maybe 3 months still going strong. Just to put it in perspective, the China bearings have a. You'll put it together. Oh, are you going to? Yeah, the China bearings have a. Sorry, we're doing a tag team thing here. So the China bearings have a load rating of a combined load rating of about 1.2 kilos, and the Kansan's probably a hell of a lot less than that. Whereas our ones are coming in a combined load rating of 7 kilos, which is basically just under 7 times more than China bearings that are available. I would say on par with the Prometheus ones. So we spent a lot of time researching this because there's no point just coming out with a product and just saying it's better without actually having proof that it's better. Yeah, and I mean that's basically like hanging a PTW off these bearings and then running it all day. It's a lot of load to say that it's capable of running, especially when we've proven that the China bearings at the 1.2 have a failure rate of 1 in say 15. Which we think is 7 times more. We think we're never going to see a failure rate, which is probably why the Prometheus ones are so going so strong. Real safe bets. So Paul's just going to put this back together again, and then we'll do the reassemble. Do you want to do the reassemble, or do you want me to do it?
You're talking through it while I'm doing it, do you want?
Yeah, I'll talk through it. I think the internet's quite used to me talking now.
I always turn them back
to
find the thread before you actually force them back in, and then you know that they're going to go in properly. Yeah.
Engineer, one of my engineers said to me the best way you can tell a good engineer is by the way he screws up a screw. Always going backwards before you go forwards.
You know that it finds, but it finds the thread exactly.
Yeah.
You're not re-threading it then.
I think these ones are self-cutting ones, aren't they? Threads.
Yeah.
So potentially, if you did cross-thread it, it would cut its new thread. So we're just putting the tappet plate spring on the side here. So notice how we're doing it afterwards when it's all closed up. So just like the M4 soft mod. In essence, this is like a hybrid between a version 1 AK and obviously the new version 2 soft mod. So we just put the cut-off lever on now. After you've assembled the cut-off lever and got it in place, just do a little flick test just to make sure it's it's operating properly and doesn't catch or not go back into its right thing. It's a very, very simple thing. I mean, if it moves, it's going to work. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Also, we noticed it's got SCAR written on this one, so we think that this is slightly different. So you wouldn't be able to do a change. Say, for instance, that cut-off lever with the M4 one. Possibly different. Well, they're not different mag sizes, are they? The same mag, so.
Same as M4.
I don't know. I don't think we really need to look that closely into it. Nobody's going to be losing and swapping theirs on them. So as before, we're just sliding the top recoil unit back on. This whole process is made so much easier if you take it off and leave it in one section. That way you're not disassembling it into tiny little pieces and then sending me an email saying I've disassembled it into tiny little pieces. How do I put it back together again? Can you do a video about that? So it's just easier if you just put it along, to one side in one section.
Reassembling it wrong
now. No, that's all right. It's just fiddly.
It's just fiddly with this last spring.
Yeah. last time I got it in place and then clip the spring into place.
Oh.
Try putting a couple of screws in that and see it holding that in place then.
Spring them upside down, that's one.
That would have been me.
Huh?
That would have been me.
Yeah, it's easier when they're that way round. That way
That way around, yeah.
Oop. This can be a little bit fiddly.
Wonder how long we're up to now. Don't know. It's not
Huh?
written. I was just wondering how long it's been.
Having fun here, aren't we?
Fiddly for the win. I think that's the way you do it. Locate it all first, and then worry about the spring afterwards. I think so.
You need to get that on there though
You
first.
reckon?
There we go. Push that up into its place. When the spring falls off again. I think I nailed it. Stop it.
You sure you don't want to tag me in?
Huh?
That's alright how it is, isn't it? So, and then just
It's, you know what, you can do this 100 times, but then when you try and do it on a video for somebody,
it's not an Eagle 6 video without dropping something, mate.
It's what?
It's not an Eagle 6 video without dropping something mid-video.
Mate, you know.
This is the point though, it's like it's real videos as opposed to just, you know, a quick cut and pasting where people are just watching, you know, bullet points.
Yeah.
You know, this, it is a fiddly job, you know. It's just, you know, I think it's important we convey that.
You can, I gotta say, you can do this 100 times, but when you're trying to do it on video, it messes up. Like so.
So that's alright, you just locate that. And just put that in, so that'll make it easier for you.
There we have it.
That's right, that's good. Right, so
That is the awkwardest, littlest bit to get back. All I'm doing is just locating it for a second.
yeah. So
One, two.
when you're doing these up, leave the top one loose. Okay, so we're just locating the other bit so it doesn't fall apart again. But the reason is this bar goes all the way through, and we want to reassemble the back bit before we put that final screw in. Okay. I'm being like a cameraman here. Look, a bit of zoom ins. So remember, obviously, little spring inside the big spring, then slide it onto the bar, and then clip it all into place. So now we're tightening up that final screw with the bar flush, okay, there. And there's a little notch which the screw screws over this notch to hold the bar in place. So we'll show you it on video and we're talking about it, but until you're really doing it yourself, you know, it doesn't really sort of click.
There you have it.
That's right, isn't it? So now this thing is together and operating correctly. So obviously you ping it a few times just to make sure. We want to make sure that this here is forward and in the correct position. Okay, so what we consider as safe. Yeah. So now as you're locating it in here, make sure that all of the selector switches. Sorry. Yeah, make sure all the selector switches are in safe as well. So selector plates in safe and selector switches are in safe. This is plastic, the lower receiver here. So what you'll find is that it will catch just here and here on the selector plate. So what you can do is basically just prise apart the actual lower receiver just to go through, but do it slowly. Trigger first, didn't it? Oh, it is. I found that it catched there and it caught there. Not safe.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Safe.
Safe. Yeah. Should be good. And then as it's going in, I hold it in safe, and then just here and here, it will catch. We'll see.
Just that part of the trigger.
That's right, hold it in safe. And then just prise it. That's it. Yep.
Just catches there. You've got to be dead careful with it.
Yep, and just prise it again, just there. That's it. See how we just prise apart the. I'm going to call that on there. I was a bit zoomed in. So we just prise it apart, just ever so slightly. Just do it slowly, and every time you see it catch on a bit of the selector plate, just lift up that lower receiver with your thumb, and just edge it under. Otherwise, you'd be there all day trying to go. Oh, it won't go in. Once it's all in, hold it together because it will move potentially. But you want to obviously test the selector plate just to make sure that it, you know, does operate correctly before you go to the bit of securing on the pistol grip. Remember what I say about keeping the pistol grip upside down so that the screws don't fall out. So that way you can just go straight on. We just tighten these up again with a fillet screw. Motor in, correct orientation. Same with any gun. So this is obviously the short screw side, and that's the positive side. So just locate on the wires with your thumbs. Maybe use a pair of needle nose pliers if you need to. If they're loose, pinch them up a little bit with the pliers, because otherwise mid game, they're going to just work themselves off. Just as an example, we haven't changed this. This is obviously a brand new gun, and we haven't changed the motor height settings on this after we've fit hornbill gears and Prometheus bearings. We've managed to keep it identical to you know, what the original TM stuff was. So if you get your shimming right, potentially you could have the similar results. So Paul was tightening up the long one before the short one.
There you go.
Cool, so that's in now. One might consider that the hard part done. Do you want to get that and I'll carry on?
I'll let you carry on, and
Right.
I'll take that.
Tag.
Hello?
Right, so
Okay.
remember how we took the top section off
Hello then.
before we took the bottom section, okay? So so we're going to go back and do it in reverse. So we're going to do the stock first. So we're going to, there's a little trick to this, right? We want to, while it's in this closed state like this wire here has got slack on it, because obviously this stock has to extend, yeah? So so we're going to pull this just a little bit further forward, and then what that'll do is that'll give us extra slack here now for connecting these wires up. So we're going to now put these in, and then we're going to put this one in. So we'll go, mate. Right.
I'm in the middle of the video. I'm in the middle of the video.
Right, so now what we can do is we're obviously going to want to slide that on there, but we've got this slack now. So take your stop button on the back here and then just slide it this way, okay? And what that's going to be doing is taking up some of this slack. And then slide it underneath there as you slide this on. Okay? So then you get into this position here where all the slack's taken up by our extendy stock. Now, to secure this on, to stop it being a pain in the butt, we're going to pivot, and then we're going to put in these two screws, which, remember, we put in our little screw pile. So no. Okay, 1, 2. This is the part which I think is the easiest. It's just like 3 sections. You can slot it all together. Okay, 1, 2, and then we can pivot that back on. We just double check that wiring. It seems nice and snug, so just make sure it's under there as much as it will go. Nothing's disconnected there. So now, in theory, what we could do is, before you carry on any further, you know, just give it a quick test just to make sure that everything's going all right. Okay, so we're just doing a quick test just to make sure that it's 100% before carrying on. So we've got the battery attached here. Obviously, at this point, say for instance there was something wrong, you could obviously go back in and then maybe even cut and paste on the video, you know, or something like that, you know, and then fix whatever you've done wrong and then put it back together again. So all I'm going to say is, I didn't do that bit, did I?
Loose wires, the bit that you pointed out earlier.
Oh right, yes, yeah. Right, okay, right. So we're just going to unplug this and we'll just carry on with the top section. So this part is now very, very quick. So remember this bit here that I was telling you about earlier, the little bar. So as you're sliding on, right. So once we get to this position here, we can use the recoil part, the front here, the blowback, and it should push forward this metal bar, and then just make sure it goes into this little hole. You can see it on there. There you go. Slide it on there. I'd start with this little pin. Just locate that one first. See the flats? That'll let you know which way the flat side should go, okay? Flat, 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 flat. And then make sure it's in properly. Shouldn't have to hammer that. Now, the rest of it, we've got 2 screws at the front. And 4 screws, or 2 screws on each side at the back here. There we go. So that's all screws on. Scar will put back together again, so obviously, you know, put the battery in and you do the rest of it and stuff, but we don't need to do that on here. So yeah, so all done. Scar back together, and we tested it a minute ago, so we know it's working. Yeah, hopefully that's what people requested, which was a lot. Everyone wanted this one. Obviously this is probably the M4 sort of being the most popular. Obviously the Scar's now, you know, gaining popularity very, very quickly, so so there's going to be a lot more people with these. I mean, pretty much every single batch from all the sellers selling that straight away. So it's obviously a very, very, very popular gun. So if anybody wants to email us on the Facebook, which we're now Paul on basically constantly, so as opposed to me ignoring it for like 2 years, so obviously people can contact us on the Facebook, or they can contact us via the you know, the YouTube channel, and we'd be happy to maybe set up a poll or something on Facebook and see what people want us to do with regards to our next takedown video, and then obviously the most popular one we'll do a takedown video of, you know. So cool. Hopefully that's you know, been a bit long-winded, but hopefully that's exactly what everybody requested, and hopefully the light was alright and you could see exactly what was going on. So cool, thank you very much from Eagle 6.